April 24, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on the 2002 chart using NinjaTrader 8. This was kind of a slower day. It looked like in the pre-market it sold off, bounced, and then for the first hour right after the open, it moved up on what was kind of like a 45-degree rally. Then it turned into a more shallow rally, but initially it looked like it was just sideways chop with a bullish uptrend. Then I later found this purple uptrend up. I wasn't able to find too many setups, but I did take one, and it was profitable. And the only economic data that came out was at 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is right here, was the unemployment claims. And then I think existing home sales around 7, but didn't really do anything. So I'm going to get into the chart right now. There's a sell-off, a bounce. Looked like a break of this orange up channel, one attempt up, this big spike kind of flushes up. Then it hits the sideways. The first setup I actually saw was this higher low triple test. The higher low triple test, it looks like it was in a sideways consolidation. It was a new high here. It's a first entry long pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long here. Kind of creates a triple test here, but more clearly a triple test here. Then it came back, pushes off. This red up channel doesn't exist yet, but it creates a higher low with enough room to the high. So I thought that was a possible trade right there. Here it gets a little bit, I had to find these smaller channels because there was a lot, it was clearly bullish, but no, similar to I think on Tuesday, no clear way to draw a dominating up channel. I found this yellow channel, but I first found the trendline support, and I kind of drew this as a possible channel after prices got up to here, but it only really has 2 confirmations on the high side, and you could argue for maybe 3 confirmations on the low side. So this pushes up. This red one doesn't exist yet, so I'm actually going to get this out of the way. Pushes up to a new high, comes down, makes a first entry long pullback, creates a second entry long. So second entry long, I actually took this trade. It's a little aggressive because this signal bar is the inside bar, and it is bouncing off the EMA support. Later, I did kind of draw this as a trendline support, but in all honesty, in real time, I didn't use it as a key entry point, and I only really found it much later when I actually had 1 touch, 2 touch, and then it actually looked like it was a decent setup. But again, in real time, I couldn't have known that or really have known that, so it was more of a risky trade. I entered, got my 1-point scalp, and I was out. I didn't really want to try to press my luck. Then it kind of moves up, and then it creates a better opportunity right here. It's a higher low. This higher low, I think, is a possible trade. Confirms second entry long. EMA is still holding. It's a decent signal bar. You have plenty of room to the high. So possible trade here. And after you establish this red up channel, it looks like it's broke out of the channel. It's moving back in. Then prices move up. So at this time, I'm playing both this yellow and this orange, this yellow and this red. Pushes up, hits the high side of the yellow, which is pretty good. Kind of comes back down. When it came back down and touched the bottom of this red channel that I had drawn, I was a little bit careful thinking there could be a potential bounce, but there's also a potential overshoot here. So the first entry, I'd be careful taking a second entry in the same direction as that break, or in the same direction as the original trend after an overshoot. So I was looking for a potential kind of symmetrical overshoot on this side and a second entry to go long. There creates a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. Technically you have a higher low here, but it's not a good signal bar. In real time, it's just kind of hugging this line, but I'm very careful just to make sure if there's going to be a break here. And it's also creating lower highs every time. And it finally breaks through, so I'm watching now, which is up. I drew this orange down channel, but it really was more a yellow, orange trend line. I just kind of created it into a channel here, but I didn't really trust it too much. It was a new low here. It's a first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short here. Second entry short is confirmed. Break of this orange. I'm expecting a test of the low of this orange again. It has a decent signal bar. The follow through is a little more iffy, but if you had taken it, you would have gotten a quick 1-point scalp. If you try to go for anything more than maybe 1 or 2 points, this bar probably would have stopped you out. Prices then continue moving. There's just kind of sideways doji. I'm thinking prices. So I was playing this red one at one point, but it didn't really pan out. So I'm gonna go ahead and it was useful at this time of day, but now it's not so useful. So I'm actually gonna go remove it for now. So I was thinking as prices are broke out of this yellow, it's going to move back in to test this high, ideally. Created one leg up. Too many dojis right here. This is very congested. Tug of war is strong. Bounces, pushes up. I'm thinking it might be moving up this purple up channel, but it breaks through. So now I'm just kind of sitting on my hands again. Moves down this green down channel, breaks, pushes up, and then breaks a second time. So I was debating whether the channel is actually something closer to this. But again, I'm not really sure, so I'm just sitting on my hands. Watching the overall market, the aggressive push up on this, or this organized push up on this yellow, has broken, tested the highs. Now it's kind of anyone's game whether there's going to be a correction or another kind of like a leg going up this way. Creates a new low. So if you're doing the technical count, technically it's a first entry short, second entry short, then you have really a third entry short. But I also saw it as a visual first entry, second entry, looking for a higher low. You kind of get it right here, but I wasn't too keen on this sideways price action, so I left it alone. You have a new swing low here. You technically have a first entry short, you have a second entry short, but these two, actually this one isn't a very good signal bar, and it's inside to this one. So both of these could have been grouped together as a signal bar. I just didn't really like that. You have a second entry short failure. Now I'm looking for maybe a higher low, but it doesn't show up either. So it's just choppy. You have a new high here. It's a first entry long pullback. You technically have a second entry long. Break of this yellow down channel, tested the low, decent signal bar, but is below the EMA. The EMA admittedly is kind of sideways, so I'm just kind of hanging out, waiting again. When it comes out and touches this, that's actually when I drew this as a trend line support. And the trend line channel was actually a little tighter like this. So it's like three touch confirmation. I kind of trust this as a potential support. Pushes up, break, test the high, comes back down. There's no real clean second entries. I mean, there are second entries, but they're just very tight setups. I just want a little bit more cleaner legs. Creates a new high, first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long, but I saw it more as a visual first entry, pull back, second entry. It's okay. It's just, it feels kind of out. Already tested the highs. I'm just a little more cautious. The trend line I have drawn, or the trend channel I've drawn, has an overshoot. So I'm just kind of keeping that in mind. I wanted a higher low. You kind of get a higher low here, but it doesn't have a good follow through. Pushes up, breaks to the high. So actually at this point, I drew it a little bit higher here to try to encapsulate. See if this is actually the true breakout or true overshoot. Again, you have a little bit of a little bit of a congestion. So it's like a first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long. This is your signal bar to go second entry long. It's not very good. You have failed second entry long here, but it just feels very tight trading. I'm not a fan of this. I did see a potential triple test support here, which I turned into a range initially here. But once it broke out a second time, I dragged it up to here. And I saw this as a new low, first entry short, second entry short, but it actually looks like one big leg up, first entry short, break of this orange up channel, test the high, second entry short, goes back down, second entry short creates a higher low, but this higher low doesn't really confirm too much, except for maybe the second entry short failure, because it technically hasn't failed yet. So this is just kind of sitting in the middle of nowhere. It is a good signal bar. I had a hunch about it, but I left it alone. You also have a new high here, first entry long, pull back, second entry long. The way I have it drawn, I wanted really this candle to touch here before reversing, because in real time, I'm thinking there's still some bearish push, maybe down to here before it reverses up, but it kind of starts moving up on its own. So unfortunately, there was a missed opportunity here, but I'm okay with it. I wanted it to come down to this line to be more decisive. Pushes up in this orange up channel. Technically, is a first entry long, pullback, second entry long, decent signal bar. It looks like it might be moving back into this range, but this range, it's not holding very well because it's kind of creating higher. It's just kind of like breaking out of it multiple times. So first entry long, second entry long, you could claim you have a higher low. And I was thinking that, but I also wanted the higher low at least to close above the EMA. But if it did, I run into the problem of potentially buying at the high of this range. So thinking all that through, I just, overthought it probably. And the trade just kind of kept, prices just kind of kept moving without me. So definitely missed a potential opportunity, but I was okay. I really couldn't justify to myself that trade. Which is to the high. The second breakout, that's actually when I dragged this up to here, and it actually fits really well. And lo and behold, this touches once, two, three, four times really nicely. So I'm trusting this purple up channel pretty well now. Break of this green up channel, test the high, comes back down, creates a lower high here. It's a visual first entry short, second entry short, lower high here. I was a little concerned I'm touching and potentially going to have a bounce off the EMA. And it's moving up and down, up and down. It touched the bottom. It broke. I wasn't that convinced that it was going to come back down, but I wasn't really sure it was going to push back up either. So it left me a little bit unsure. It's also kind of late in the day. And I figured at this point, I figured I only had really one trade today, so I should just be happy and just kind of live to fight another day. Because today, although it was moving, there wasn't that many setups that I could claim to feel safe taking. Pushes down, creates a new swing low, pushes up. Again, you could count the technical first entry, second entry if you want. It's like first entry, actually, first entry. No, I think the first actually true first entry short is right here. Second one's way up here, but it looks like it's also part of this leg, so I'm a little weary. Then right here actually just kind of pushes into the close, kind of a lackluster close. This big spike up, I think is because there's some earnings. I think Google was announcing earnings and maybe Intel, but I think because I was watching other charts, Google did spike up, and I think it carried Amazon with it. So those are kind of big companies that can definitely move the market on any kind of news. So their Google's earnings, at least, I think might have caused that. So other than that, I didn't really see too many setups. Hopefully tomorrow will be a little bit more productive, and hopefully that was helpful.